It's like out there. It's gonna have to be correct. All right, breaking news, breaking news. The Can this be an act of war? All right, can this be an act of war? It's a question, and basically, the U.S. has seized a a Venezuela oil tanker. All right, U.S. has seized a U.S. has seized a Venezuela oil tanker. All right, so it's 9:30, about like 9:30, almost 9:40, a few minutes to 9:40 on December 10th, 2025. For a few weeks left until the end of the year, and I'm just kind of scrolling through whatever, and then I see this breaking news come up. So kind of a big deal. Uh, and I don't think it's a coincidence something like this is happening right, a few weeks before the end of the year. The people in the know, we were expecting something to pop up pretty soon, and in the Bible, the scriptures talk about all these events happening, and 2026, like we would say, start from the apostles of GMS and on down. It's going to be a hell of a ride as it is always been every year. Anyway, without further ado, I have this clip I want to share real quick. I just got the alert 40 minutes ago, and just show this video real quick. But first, I say Kalhalal, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Ruach Kodesh, the water Yahweh for giving us Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who have the 100% spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai in them. Double honors to the CT bishops. All right, elders of GMS, our big Akim, and greetings and salutations to the Akim in this country and all over the world, prophesying in the true name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, which is none other than the power of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and anybody who descendants from the people on their father's side. Shalom. Had to say it kind of fast because I just want to play this video. So get right into it.
News. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live at 4. We begin with breaking news. The United States has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela amid a months-long buildup of military forces.
President Trump has confirmed this to reporters this afternoon. The vessel was under sanctions, according to Bloomberg. This comes as the U.S. military builds up forces around the South American country in a bid to remove Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. We will bring you the updates as we get them.
They call me Prospects. I've had my
With the latest surrounding Venezuela, President Trump announced that the U.S. has seized an oil tanker off the coast of the South American country, and we now have video of it. Attorney General Pam Bondi released this video, which shows U.S. law enforcement and military executing a seizure warrant. Bondi says that the oil tanker was transporting sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran. Let's bring in White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, what do we know about how and why the U.S. did this?
Well, good evening, Lindsay. It's good to be with you. President Trump broke the news that the U.S. seized the Skipper, which is this alleged Venezuelan oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Take a listen to what he had to say here, and then I'm going to walk through what we know at this moment.
Just been an interesting day from the standpoint of news. As you probably know, we've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening, so you'll be seeing that later, and you'll be talking about that later with some other people.
Now, the president didn't offer many details, but our wonderful reporters, Jennifer Jacobs and James Laporta, have all of the details. They're told that the Skipper, this oil tanker, which was one of the largest in the world when it was created back in 2005 had just left the coast of Venezuela. And the operation to seize it, which you can see there, involved 10 Marines, 10 members of the Coast Guard, Special Forces operations, 2 helicopters, and this mission was launched from a DoD vessel in the region. The Pentagon was aware when this happened. Now, this vessel was sanctioned back in 2022 for ties to Hezbollah. We are told that the boat, the tanker, was headed to Cuba, and that it's been working with the regime of Venezuela. Now, part of this is an effort to really apply pressure onto the Maduro regime. President Trump has consistently, over the last several months, had several strikes that we have talked about very frequently on alleged Venezuelan drug boats off of the coast. He has teased land strikes inside Venezuela, but this is the first time we have seen an oil tanker be seized. The president was also asked today during that roundtable he was hosting what would happen to the oil tanker, and he said, I guess we'll keep it. Lindsay, will be watching to see if there are any more missions like this, because sources also tell CBS News that they are considering more missions like this one.
And quickly, the president also mentioned the president of Colombia today.
He did. In that roundtable meeting, President Trump said that Colombia could be next if their president, Gustavo Petro, does not get their act together. They have been very critical, that government has been very critical of President Trump's growing campaign off the coast of Venezuela. As you know, they are neighbors to Venezuela. Certainly something to watch there. Lindsay?
Olivia Rinaldi, thank you. Welcome to Live at 4. We begin.
See if I can pull up one more video here.
How significant is this move?
I think it's a very significant move. It is a step up in pressure on Maduro, and it indicates that if he stays in power, he's going to really face much more constrained resources. It's going to make it very difficult for him to pay off his people and do the other things he's been doing. It's just one more push to get him out the door. But it does also make clear, Joe, that the purpose of this is not just counter narcotics. It is aimed at Maduro, and I hope he understands that very clearly.
Aimed at regime change. What should be done with the crew on this boat, General? And after all the questions about the legality of our striking alleged drug boats coming out of Venezuela, is this in line with the law?
We don't know exactly who the crew is or who the owner of the vessel is. They'll probably be released through diplomatic channels. Vessel will probably be held.
Understood. Is that what should happen to all survivors from boats that we attack?
Well, we've never seen, you're going back to this incident with the double tap. And Joe, the Republicans said in the House said the investigation's over, but the American people have not yet seen the tape or the video. And I think, the administration owes it to the American.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play all of that. We all know, if you're in the know, you know about the media. It's pretty much all about propaganda and riling up American copper top heads for war. To brainwash them towards war. They did it with 9/11, with the going after Iraq with weapons of mass destruction, with Saddam Hussein, and etc. So anyway, this whole thing with Venezuela, like we've been saying here at GMS, starting from the top on down, it's something to keep an eye on, because I should have said at the top of the show that we know that Russia backs Venezuela. All right, not we, the whole world knows. Okay, so basically, as the scriptures say, talks about Russia and America, all right, battling in the last days, having a world's war. All right, these are the two major superpowers that are the two main characters of this war, because Russia is in the scriptures in Ezekiel 30th chapter, right? Gog, right? Gog and Magog. All right, Magog meaning of the land of Gog, which the land of Gog is Russia today. Okay, that whole region. All right, and like we always bring out, start from the top, Apostle R, Russia, right, is basically a Hebrew word which goes back to uh, Ra'ah, Ra'ah meaning head. All right, if I'm pronouncing it right, and then Shah, which is uh, which is basically prince, like Shar. All right, Shar. So head prince, you're basically saying Rashar. Okay, so it's in the name. All right, and it proves that Russia again is in biblical prophecy, Ezekiel 38, and Russia has a majority of nuclear missiles to to act out. Well, Russia has the nuclear capability, right, to shoot missiles on America. All right, they have the power to. Putin said it himself. You know, what the missile called Satan 2, whatever have you, said it could take out the whole East Coast. All right. So anyway, the point is, it's a big deal that U.S. is seizing Venezuela oil tank. All right, and this is happening right a few weeks before the end of the year. So this could spill over into the new year and create changes around not only this country but the world. You know, with raising gas prices and maybe a retaliation. You know, who knows? You know, all this stuff we've been talking about, the plagues that are written in the scriptures are coming to America. So it can come by way of a retaliation attack, whether it be a cyber attack or EMP attacks, having a blackout, you know, whatever have you. You know, this is the toughest part for a nation to go through something in the dead of winter. Okay. It's a pretty cold winter so far, so some could very well go down, you know what I mean, this year. All right. And this in the dark winter, like we was prophesied about too. You know, some call the dark winter. All right. I have a scripture I want to share. Maybe I'll go to Ezekiel 38, but I just noticed something which wasn't planned. I guess this happened 5 hours ago. I'm just getting the video an hour ago, and I just did it live. So this is kind of breaking news now, but I'm noticing something here. I'm just gonna play a few, maybe 2 minutes. It does have mad views, but maybe it says here, right? Why the U.S. and Venezuela are on the brink of war. So that's a pretty good something to look at right now. And this is from 2 months ago. So let's look at that. Fair use, educational purposes, fair use. So let's click that real quick.
With Tasty Trade's active trader.
Unprecedented is taking place right now in the Caribbean Sea. The United States is currently deploying more military assets to this theater than at any other point in the 21st century. And it's the largest concentration of U.S. military might in the Western Hemisphere since the country's invasion of Panama in 1989. This time, however, the U.S. military is concentrating its forces just outside of the territorial waters of Venezuela, arguably the most antagonistic country in the Western Hemisphere to American interests. The U.S. has deployed 3 modern Arleigh-Burke-class guided missile destroyers and 1 Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, along with at least 1 nuclear-powered attack submarine just offshore of Venezuela that all collectively carry a strike package of dozens to hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles. If these Navy warships weren't enough, they've also been joined by the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit as well, consisting of the amphibious assault ship USS Iwo Jima, along with its complement of 2 transport and logistical support ships. The USS Iwo Jima, in particular, is basically a miniature-sized aircraft carrier that was captured by photographs on its way to Venezuela, with multiple Harrier attack aircraft, M22 Osprey assault helicopters, and Sikorsky heavy-lift helicopters all on board. It can also, along with its 2 transport and logistical support ships, launch multiple hovercraft and amphibious assault vehicles for armed beach assaults under its aerial coverage too. More than 2,500 U.S. Marines have been deployed here with the 22nd, along with around 2,000 sailors belonging to the naval complement with the destroyers, the cruiser, and the submarine. And on top of all of this firepower, the U.S. has also deployed a literal combat ship to the theater as well, the USS Minneapolis-St. Paul, bringing the total number of vessels deployed in the theater so far up to 9. Well, at least an additional 10 F-35 fighter jets have also been deployed to airfields in Puerto Rico. The Trump administration's officially stated purpose for deploying all of these assets nearby to Venezuela right now is to simply conduct counter-narcotics operations and to halt the flow of drugs from Venezuela coming into the United States. But deploying warships and nuclear
the world's largest oil reserves, sitting in a country where 30% of the population has already fled.
Fair use, fair use. Now, this is just, this video is from just 3 days ago. All right. So, this is something that's been building up, you know.
Russian and Iranian weapons flowing in. And in August, for the first time since the 1980s, the U.S. has assembled a massive naval strike force just miles from Venezuela's coast. 8 warships, a nuclear submarine, over 4,000 Marines. Officially, it's about drugs and refugees. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Washington may actually be preparing to invade. Why now? Today, we're unpacking the hidden evidence, from collapsing oil pipelines to China's secret deals to the quiet troop buildups that prove why the U.S. might be closer than ever to war in its own backyard. Today's crisis didn't appear overnight. It's been decades in the making. And to really understand why Venezuela and America are now on the edge of open conflict, we need to rewind. It all started in 1999. When Hugo Chavez stormed into power promising to defy the United States. By 2002, the relationship had already collapsed. The CIA even backed a coup that briefly removed Chavez from office, a warning that U.S. intervention in Venezuela wasn't a conspiracy theory, but a reality that would haunt the next 20 years. Chavez built his entire image around defying Washington, constantly painting the U.S. as an imperialist enemy. His successor, Nicolas Maduro, doubled down on that message, turning being anti-American into Venezuela's official brand. The result? A spiral of retaliation. Venezuela seized oil fields, the U.S. hit back with rising sanctions, and the 2000s turned into a slow-motion collision course that was bound to explode sooner or later. By the mid-2000s, Washington had Venezuela in its crosshairs. First came the labels, failing counter-narcotics partner. Then came the sanctions, targeting officials and allies of Hugo Chavez. But things escalated under Maduro. In 2019, the U.S. made a move straight out of a spy novel. It declared opposition leader Juan Guaido the real president of Venezuela and openly backed an attempted coup. The plan failed, but the message was clear. Every crisis, every sanction was dressed up as democracy promotion or drug control. But behind the curtain, it was always the same 3 motives: oil, power, and blocking Russia, China, and Iran from gaining a foothold in America's backyard. By 2025, Maduro had forced his way into a 3rd term after a blatantly rigged election that saw thousands of opponents thrown in jail. The world condemned it, but Maduro didn't care. Now, Venezuela was completely isolated. No diplomatic ties left, no trust on either side. And that's when the real danger set in. Every supply ship, every military advisor, every frozen bank.
All right. So, I'm going to bring out scripture too. Let me see some. Now, these are those videos were before the breaking news. All right. This is just from 3 days ago. Let's see if there's any updates. Let me see real quick. Live. Yeah, this is live right now. You watch this real quick. Commercials.
Thousands of slots to play.
Over requirement to print prescription forms. To show you how absurd the world has become, there was a simple attempt to say, we're just going to put your prescriptions on your phone. So when you get them, you can see all the side effects. You know, all that paper that's print.
As you probably know, we've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large.
We've been telling you all day about President.
All right, so let me just read the scripture, then I'll just finish off. This title, this video I just clicked on now, is an hour ago. It says oil prices rise after U.S. seizes oil tanker. All right. Now the scriptures talk about this. I'll get Matthew's chapter 24, and then I'll go to Ezekiel 38 real quick. Matthew 24. Let me see if I can do it here. Wonder if you can see that. Matthew 24. I'll just read it. I don't think you can see it. It says Matthew 24, verse 4, right? To the point it says, in Yahweh Shai, right? That's the true name of the Lord, answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, right? Because right before this verse, the disciples asked him when the kingdom was going to be. Matter of fact, I'll start from 1. It says, and Yahweh Shai went out and departed from the temple, and the disciples came to him to show him the building of the temple. I'll put this on mute and I'll play it, but we'll come back to this. Right? It says, and Yahweh Shai said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Verse 3 says, and as he sat upon Mount Olives, the disciples came down on him privately, saying, tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed one, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, so that was the point I wanted to get there. This is out the Lord's mouth, a prophetic chapter. And the disciples asked him, right, when are the signs of your coming or the kingdom be established? What are the signs for us to look for? So, the famous chapter, Matthew 24, where the Lord prophesied, that was his answer. He said in verse 6 again, and ye shall hear, well, verse 5, that's the point. For many shall come in my name, right, saying, I am the anointed one, and shall deceive many. And there's been plenty of examples of that, that's been going on for the past decades. But as we are closer, you got people like the Discomforter, got man out of former One West, who created his own camp, ICGC or something like that. Unfortunately, Elder Ariah succumbed to that, but that's, according to prophecy. That's another subject, meaning that he believed in this fake comforter, but we know that's prophecy, another subject, like I said. But that was one example of somebody coming in the name of the Lord and deceiving many. That we know the Lord, the scriptures is the comforter is the Lord himself, not no man here on earth. All right. And overall, you got many false prophets, Israelite groups coming out there saying they're coming in the name of the Most High and the Son, and they're telling you that the Son's name don't matter, telling you his name is Jesus, whatever have you. They're coming in the spirit of an Israelite, of the Most High chosen people, right, saying they represent the Most High, right, but they deceiving many. Now you got this thing going on with Genesis talking about that all nations can be saved, which is heresy, blasphemy. All right. And obviously, you learn on day one, that's not the truth. So, these guys, me personally, we know they sold out, but they're all about advertisement. I believe they're Freemasons or some kind of Masonic order with them, guys, man, all of them, because they're all in these podcasts with other Masons, Tazariak and Alizé, they all been in these podcasts with all these Masons, this fraternity, interviewing each other for fame. And that's one thing about Freemasonry. It's all about access. Anyway, Salakia, but many come in the name of the Lord, right? And deceiving many. Verse 6, and it said, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right. So again, of course, there's rumors of wars throughout the years, right? But the difference between these rumors in 2025 and the past few years, especially since the lockdown, is that all the other prophecies are happening simultaneously. All right. Where not only do you have the rumors of wars, you have Ezekiel 37, right? Happening at the same time, the Great Awakening for the Most High's people, right? You had a bunch of Israel is mainstream now in the news. You have Kyrie Irving situation that he brought the whole Israelite thing to another level, right? You had the Kyrie Irving situation. You had rappers bring up that the Israelites, it's become a common thing now, or it's known. Okay, it's known whether you love it or hate it. Excuse me. So that's another major difference, that all these things are happening right when rumors of war are breaking out. Okay, this thing just stupid thing. Yeah, it's a lot. Let me just play something while I'm talking. It's a lot. It's like out there. Trying to get something that's covering this instead of these stupid commercials, man. Let me just play this. Just trying to play some in the background. Fucking demon. It's like out there. All right. So again, just to finish up, where was I? Yeah, so I'm saying all these things happen simultaneously, right when this major war is coming out, and then you have not only a war, but all the military weaponry replicates. How should I say, the capabilities of these military weapons today, right? Their capability resembles the descriptions in the scriptures as far as destruction, right? One of the names of a nuclear missile over of the last days, the aftermath of the last days is desolation, right? Desolation, nothing there. We know that nuclear detonation does that. It makes nothing there. It blows everything to smithereens, evaporates everything. You have again, with Putin talking about the Satan 2, the Satan 2 missile, and these are the missiles that can take out the whole east coast of America and all these other powerful missiles. Technology today, right? The effects of the weaponry today, right, falling right in line with the destructiveness of the last days by desolation, by something called the waster, right? The waster, to destroy, right? That's another description that the prophets described what they saw in the vision of these nuclear missiles. They called it the waster. They called it the glittering sword. All right. They called it an arrow. Right. So again, not only that, civil unrest, moral unrest. All right. Spiritual decline. So all these things are happening. Right. And then, of course, the wave, the future, or this government, they're going towards a digital society, right? A technocracy, right? So you have the MOTB prophecy, right? The passive technology, or the radio frequency identification chip, right? Revelation 13 to 16. This is all happening at the same time. All right, that's how we know these rumors of wars is different. And ultimately, believing in the Most High, you know that the Lord Yahweh Shai, Son of the Heavenly Father, is going to interrupt World War III. All right, and this is actually what we need to be saved from: World War III, the nuclear missiles that's going to be shut off. We need to be saved from the destruction. All right. So that's why the Lord said to look out for that. So this can be an act of war, right? As the title reads, that this can pop off. And it's not a coincidence. It's happening in the 250th year. All right. Here it is. That's the average year when empires fall, right? We can have a war break out next year on the 250th year. So the Lord willing, the Lord be back this year. And this is a sign. Because at the end of the day, Salakia, this is just nothing in the world is going to simmer down, man. All more nations are going to get more agitated, and they're building towards a world's war. All right, as we go on. So if this nothing happens here, it's still going to happen. And also, Salakia, the chip has to come through. Also, you know, the chip has to come to pass. Number one, Salakia. All right. So again, for it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And these are the beginning of sorrows, right? And so this was happening, you know, you got famines happening all over the world. You know, you have trade wars, sanctions, you know, Venezuela was on the other end of that, you know. You know, they were going through famines because with the war, with the sanctions that America put on Venezuela, you know, messing up their economy and having people commit cannibalism and all that stuff, you know. Then it says, verse 9, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Right? And yeah, so you know, that's kind of the next step where here it is, we see a buildup of the Lord's people proving who they are, because they're doing the most talking on these social media sites, talking against the Hebrew Israelites, man, namely against the Most High and the Lord, right? Denying their nationality, right? So we know that our people are, that's something where they're back talking this, basically a lot of hate and persecutions coming towards the truth of the Lord, all right? A lot of hate's coming, and that you can see that in 2026 building up. So, right, so men of the Lord are going to be persecuted for what we believe in, all right? Or the true believers, the elect. So, right, so it says, and they should be, so that was it right there. Let me see. I can get Ezekiel 38 real quick, and I'll stop it there. Just get it real fast. You know, because it's prophecy. So Ezekiel 38. It says, 38:1, it says, and the word of the Lord, the Most High, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Like I said on the top of the show, again, it says, again, son of man, right? Another word for human. That's what the Most High was calling Ezekiel, which human means colored man, by the way, right? Or you could say Odama, which is a man of the ground. So it says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, right? So again, Gog, like I said at the top of the show, is Russia, the whole region of Russia. And it says the land of Magog. Magog in the Paleo Hebrew would be Ma, or really means from or of, right? So it's saying of the land of Gog, or from the land of Gog. All right. And it says the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. So those are all, if you notice, those are names after the sons of Japheth, right? Because after the flood, Noah had 3 sons, right? Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? And all the people that are in the world are populated from those 3 people, right? That created other nations. But the point is, Japheth had sons, and their names were like Meshach and Tubal, right? So the original Russians, like we always bring out, are the Japhetic people, what you call like Aborigines, or in the Polynesian islands, I believe, the Hawaiians, etc., like that. Those are like Japhetic people. All right, they're the original Romans. Let me just, this commercial thing drives me crazy. They're the original Romans. Let's just play this, and matter of fact, let me go to the history. I like that one we were playing before. This is, we'll just play this while. Yeah. All right. So what was I saying? That the original Romans were Romulus. The story goes Romulus and Ramos or something like that. And those are the original Japhetic people, dark skin and with melon. All right, but if you go into the Etruscan wars, right, that's when the Romans beat those Etruscans and stole their identity like they always do. You know, like the scriptures say they would. All right. So anyway, the land of Russia today was taken over by Edom. All right. And again, going back to the name, Russia is a Hebrew name anyway, right? Ra'ash, or Ra, going meaning the headings or the beginnings. And then you have Shar, right? Shar, Rashar or Shar, which means prince. Okay, so you're saying head prince. So Russia, see, it's right in front of your face. The name of Russia tells you who they are spiritually. They are the head prince. They are, like it says here, against Ezekiel 38:1, Son of Man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. That's in Russia today. The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and to prophesy against them. So they're head of all that region, right? And really a lot of nations, you know, starting with the BRICS, right? They're the ones who head the BRICS, right? So a lot of nations are under or of the land of God, or of the land of Russia, right? They're the chief prince. The BRICS nations are proof of that. And say thus said the Lord, power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, and chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all mine army, and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And it says, verse 4 again, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Yeah, so what does it mean to turn thee back? That Russia wasn't, after World War II, you know, it was crumbled. All these other nations were crumbled after World War II. You know, America, you know, bombed Japan, right, with the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know, they decimated a lot of countries in Germany, you know what I mean? And one of them was Russia. So, you know, the fall of the KGB, the whole government was down, you know, and they had to build themselves back up. So that's why the Lord said in verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. All right. So the Lord has risen them back up for the last days, right? Because Russia is the number one opponent and defeater that can take out America, man. We're reading it now, right? So the Lord has turned them back and given them strength. So this verse 4 makes sense because Russia has the most. Not only do they have the most nuclear missiles on the earth, but they have the most advanced military weaponry on planet Earth. All right, none compares to the Russian military weaponry, and also their soldiers. You know, they're on another level, man. So verse 4 makes sense that it's them. It says, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, right? Horses and horsemen, right? And all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. Yeah. I did plenty of shows on that. They got all these kind of technology that's not even released to the public. They have, even if the ones that are released outweighs America or any nation's military weaponry, right? So they're going to use all that. The Lord created them, made them make all those to be that, because they're going to be using the last days, you know, to be that advanced in the military, right? With the military and weaponry. It says, even a great company with the bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, right? Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, all of them with the shield and helmet, and all these Persia, all these other nations. I think Ethiopia, they signed with the BRICS nations too. Was it Syria, or Sudan? No, not Sudan, Syria. Correct me if I'm wrong. And a lot of other nations. Hey, Shalom out there in the comment board. Shalom. A lot of other nations have signed with the BRICS nations and joined up with them just to go against the G7 nations, which is Babylon, which is the EU nations, the 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay. America, the European Union, okay, Canada. All right. So that was it. I just wanted to read that. Like I said, I just got the news myself, and just quickly did some on it, Lord willing, to the Spirit. So I'll post what I'm showing you now in the description. This is funny because this video here, it says why the U.S. is preparing to invade Venezuela, and this is from 3 days ago. So this is something that's been building up. We've been talking about here in GMS. Something to pay attention to. And we all know that, and it's not a coincidence, in my opinion. It's happening right before the end of the year. So this could kind of kick off next year, and what the landscape is going to look like for next year. All right, because again, this is not going to simmer down. All nations are going to be agitated and fight against each other, man. And it's all going to be pointed towards America. That's the spirit. Look at that. Look at that. That's Venezuela, but it's all going to be pointing towards Venezuela. America. All the agitation and tension in the world. All right. What else? Yeah, and we know that the chip is right around the corner, man. Okay, let's play a little bit of this, and we'll finish.
The UN, China has shielded Maduro again and again, vetoing resolutions, while at the same time pouring money into infrastructure projects designed to lock up Venezuelan resources for decades.
Fair use.
Perhaps the most
fair use
is Iran. Since 2021, Tehran has supplied refinery technology, signed nearly $500 million in contracts, and even helped overhaul Venezuela's largest refineries. At one point, the two countries struck a bizarre...
Did we not just talk about Persia, right? Ezekiel 38 mentioned Persia. Those are the Arabs, man. The Iran, right? All these nations, man, are doing business. And then, of course, Russia's the head.
2-to-1 oil swap deal. Venezuela shipped out 2 barrels of crude for every single barrel of refined product Iran sent back. The deal collapsed when Caracas couldn't meet quotas, leaving Venezuela even more desperate for Iranian support. And now, alarmingly, intelligence reports say Iranian drones, anti-ship missiles, and small naval vessels have already made their way into Venezuela's arsenal. Add to this the thousands of Cuban security advisors still embedded in the government.
All right, so that'll be that. I'll put this in the description. Again, it should be hitting news now. The Venezuela thing's been ongoing issue, with war crimes that Americans are being accused of, shooting. There goes the crew lord right there, Isaiah 19. But they're accused of committing war crimes, shooting down, drug boats or some cartel boats, right? There's a whole drama behind that. Anyway, I hope the Lord was with this video. And like I said, just reporting in, breaking news, shalom. Kal halal Yahweh ba Shema Shai ba Hashem Rakwadash. The water Yahweh for giving us Yahweh Shai. All right, double honors to the apostles of GMS, double honors to the CT bishops, and shalom to the Akba in this country and all over the world. Shalom.